Hey guys, Megan here with ReachRight. I'm going to walk you through how to use your modal pop-up plugin that we've installed on your ReachRight website. You're going to find it on your dashboard. It's going to be down here under your settings and Convert Plus, and you've got the modal pop-up, the info bar, and the slide-in that are defaults with the plugin. So I'm going to start with the modal pop-up. This is the box pop-up that kind of shows up in the middle of your screen when someone lands on certain pages of your website or your entire website. So we're going to go to create new modal. And these are all the templates that are available for you to use. The most common ones that you guys are going to be using are the blank style, which is just for text. And then we've got these 2 button ones that are the easiest to mess with the design. So the hot pink one here and the orange one. Okay, so just to let you know, all of these are totally customizable with fonts and colors. So when you look at those, don't let that kind of weird you out. But we're going to go ahead and start with the blank style here. So we're going to go to use this, and it's going to open up the modal designer. Most of this is pretty straightforward. It's really just kind of getting back here and getting your hands dirty, playing around with this. So number one thing you're going to want to do is name your modal. This is easier because once you start creating some, they don't go away until you delete them. So that way, if you have one for marriage conference registration, you would want to name it that so that you kind of know as you go on which ones you can just turn on and off and which ones you might want to delete and not use anymore. Your background tab is obviously what color background, what color do you want this? So you can use any color here, the rainbow, or obviously if you've got a custom color from your website that you want to use, you can change that here. You can use a background image. If you do use an image, it really just needs to be an image. It really shouldn't have any text on there. The image does not size to the modal. The image is sizing to the text over the modal. Okay, so if this is just one word here, this is going to be the size of the modal. It is not going to know what is on your photo. Okay. So if you had a big picture here, you're only going to see this small rectangle, if that makes sense. But again, you've got all of your colors here for text. You've got some fonts to choose from, and obviously your size. So that stuff's pretty straightforward. Your close link, this is how big do you want your close link. So you can obviously see that that gets bigger and smaller. I usually kind of leave that as a default. Your modal animation, this is how do you want it to enter the screen. Okay, you'll see there is a lot of different kind of fun little animations that you have to choose from. And then how do you want it to leave? So when someone clicks that X button, what do you want it to do? So you got some cute stuff that you can do there. So you can play around with that. Your advanced design options, this is obviously messing with the width. I usually will say with this to kind of be careful here because you want to make sure that you don't make it too big or too small, because then as you see down here on responsiveness, you'll want to check how does this look on other screen sizes. Okay, especially this would be a good idea to check if you do choose to use a background image, making sure that nothing's getting chopped off. Or if you have a lot of text, let's make sure that on a mobile device it's not too much. Okay, so those are your design options. Your behavior options here, this is what do you want it to do. So defaults are all, as soon as someone logs onto your website, after about 1 second, it's going to show up, okay? There are options here if you want them to scroll past a certain portion of the website or a certain portion of the page that you can play around with. Repeat control, if somebody's already been on your website and hit the close button, it will save their cookie and not show it to them again, okay? If it's something that they need to see every time they log on, then you'll want to leave cookies off. Otherwise, it's saying, hey, do not show after someone has closed this for 30 days. Okay. You can obviously change that if your modal is going to go away before then, whatever. But you can kind of play with that. Target pages. Default is to be on complete website, which means every single page. And when I say that, I literally mean every page. So let's say they close it on the home page, then they're going to go to the about page, same pop-up pops up again. They go to your connect page, same pop-up. So Some of these you don't need to show on every single page unless it's like some emergency that something is closed or that things have been canceled maybe. But like a registration, I would probably just show once so that you don't annoy people like that. With this one, so if you do decide to turn this off of the complete site, it'll say enable only on what pages. This is where you would start typing, here's my home page, and maybe I want it on my events page because the event was on my calendar and I want them to make sure that they see that it's canceled. Okay. Target visitors, I leave this alone. This is just showing that if you're logged in as a user on your website, you want to see it. Okay. That's just good so that you know it's obviously working. The modal status is just saying if it's live or not. So if you were back here editing that, it's just letting you know that it's not active. So let's say this is exactly how I want it to look. It's exactly what I want. I'm going to hit the save button. And then when I go to close this, it's going to say, hey, do you want to go ahead and publish this or leave it paused? If you're ready to go ahead and launch it, then let's launch it. Okay, it's saying it is published and live now. And this will kick you back to the website, okay? I do have an issue with this plugin kind of cookies kind of stop this. So sometimes I do have to clear my browser cache if it doesn't work right away. So we'll see right here, this does say that it's paused. I want to make this live, so that's all we need to do. Now let's go see if that worked. Here's my site, and you'll see it's not there. So let's clear our cache and see if that helps us. More than likely, if you hit that you want it to go live and it doesn't work, this is what you need to do. This has worked most of the time. So I'm just back on the site. I refreshed. It's logged me out actually. So let's go back in. And go back to my modal pop-up. This should say that it's paused. Let's try that again. Live, please. And of course, well, we need to know how to design them. So let's keep going. We'll fix that in a minute. Okay, the info bar. This is pretty much exactly the same. We're going to create a new info bar. We have a blank one again, and we have some with buttons. Now, if you need a button link, I always say use one that's already designed here. You're probably not going to want this subscribe one, but any of these that just have text with a button on the side is what we want to do. And then we'll change the background of the button and all that stuff. So let's go in here. We're going to have all the same design options. So I'm not going to go over that again. The main thing is going to be, where do you want this pop up? So your options for your info bar are if you want it at the top of the page or the bottom of the page, okay? You still get the animation. So, you know, if you don't want it if you want it to flash in, you know, so that you make sure somebody sees it, this is when you can kind of play around with that. You know, how do I want it to come in so that to make sure that your web users are seeing this? You can obviously change the button. Any text here, you're just changing what that says. So, you know, learn more, register here, whatever. Same thing with this. Okay, you can change the font and the style. The bar itself, you can obviously change the height, you know, and the width. But always, again, I like to just check responsiveness because you'll see, you know, on different screen sizes, it takes up a lot more space than others. Okay, so just make sure it looks how you want it to before you save it. So we'll take this one. We're going to save that. Okay, so this one says it's live. Let's see. So there's my info bar. Okay, and you'll see it popped up right away. Obviously, your alignment here, we can mess around with that, but I just kind of wanted to show you the gist of, hey, if you need a pop-up for emergencies or anything, offices are closed, inclement weather, or something's canceled, you need to feel comfortable, putting this on your site. The other thing I kind of want to go over just quickly is scheduling. You can schedule these to turn on automatically and turn them off without you having to get in here. That's going to be here. So your status of the info bar here is live. So if you need to turn it off, you just hit pause. And then let's say that we wanted to schedule it. So I want it to turn on, Monday morning at 8 a.m. You're going to put all that information in here. And then your ending time. When do you want it to turn off? And it'll turn it off all by itself. So that's kind of cool for things that, you aren't available to log into the website to take care of, or, you don't want to forget to turn this on and off. You can schedule it to do that on its own. Okay. So for the gist, that was your quick run through on how these should work. So the modal pop-up is giving us a hard time, isn't it? Yes, it is. Now you can have an info bar and a modal pop-up at the same time. Okay. You cannot have two info bars and two modal pop-ups at the same time. So keep that in mind. Okay. I have had a site that, they use the pop-up and then they use the info bar on the same homepage because they're obviously two different things. So that's kind of cool if you want to do that. Of course, it's going to give me a hard time right now. The modal pop-up. And like I said, a lot of times it's just clearing your cache. So I'll end with that.